where best friends and next-door neighbors, Willow and Lillian, spill the tea on murder, mysteries, and other things that go bump in the night. So get your favorite teacup ready, and let's get into it. Welcome to Cruelty Podcast. This is Lillian, and with me is Maris because Willow has COVID.
Hello.
Hello.
We don't have COVID as far as we know.
Yeah, though we were exposed.
Yeah, so we're quarantined. We're a quarantine.
But, you know, it does it really change day to day from how we just regularly live our lives?
Not in a red state. No one gives a fuck here.
No. But, I mean, we're already sort of just quarantined because we don't go anywhere.
Because we live in rural. We're
rural.
It's hard to say.
Yes, and so we're continuing on with Black History Month, and today we're talking about the murder of Breonna Taylor. And this is rough. This is a rough one, y'all, so just be prepared.
Get your tissues.
Perhaps. It makes me sad anyway. The murder of 26-year-old Breonna Taylor by police was not a failure of the system. It was the system working precisely as it was designed to. This isn't the case of a few bad apples spoiling the bunch, which I'm fucking tired of hearing. This is the entire justice system working to protect its own with blatant disregard for Black lives. I just don't see it any other way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Breonna Taylor was born on June 5th, 1993 in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is where Maris is from.
No, I went to college there.
Yeah, well, when I met you, that's where you lived.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Breonna was raised by her mother, Tamika Parker. They moved to Louisville, Kentucky when Breonna was little, and Breonna has been described as sweet and caring. Family was the most important thing to her. She was always willing to lend a helping hand, which is likely why she got into work as an EMT, first responder. A selfless person, she worked hard to save lives and had dreams of becoming a nurse, dreams that would be cut short by police violence.
Yeah.
And I'll get into this a little bit later when discussing this case, but we frequently talk about the myth of the perfect victim, meaning like she had to be pretty and she had to be petite and she had to be like the nicest person on the face of the earth.
If somebody has addiction, then they're just trash, right?
Oh, yeah, obviously they don't count, or if they're Black, or if they're poor, or if they're a sex worker, or any number of things. And I just want to point out that this rhetoric is gross and stupid, and everyone has faults, including you if you're listening. And of course, when we are going to be talking about victims, we're going to say things like, oh, she lit up a room. I'm literally going to say that. I'm quoting her family because they deserve to be heard.
Yeah. But
nobody's perfect. But Breonna was pretty fucking close.
Yeah.
She was described by friends and family as bubbly and outgoing, a hard worker. Breonna was making good decisions and her life was going well. She was working hard on her credit score, hoping soon to start a family with her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. They wanted to buy a house.
Oh.
She worked at 2 hospitals, the Jewish East Medical Center as an emergency room technician and at Norton Healthcare as a practicing registered nurse. And I will tell you all this right now. My experience with emergency room technicians is that they are angels who save your fucking life.
For sure.
I would not be here without a lot of quick thinking on the part of the technicians who helped me during my car accident.
Same. I had a pulmonary embolism.
Saved your life.
They did. In the wee-woo wagon.
Yes, you went away and then they made you better.
Yeah.
And the level of strength that it takes, both emotional and physical, to do that job, they just don't get enough credit.
They need to be paid $1 billion a year.
For sure. For sure. But yeah, she worked all the time too. She was really trying. She's making a good living and had just purchased her dream car, which was a Dodge Charger. And you go, girl. Those things are expensive.
Yeah,
they're cool. She was rightly proud of herself and her accomplishments. Breonna was known for her style and skill with makeup. She lit up the room when she was there, but more than the hard work and charming personality, she loved her family.
Oh.
And it was her family... It was her family that inspired her to get into healthcare. Her mother and her aunt worked in the healthcare field, and when asked by her family what she wanted to be when she grew up. She said, I want to be like y'all.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Just take a second. Woo. It's just, I think if this were like some gross negligence and just a mistake that people made in this case, it wouldn't make me so upset and so angry and hurt, but it wasn't. And we'll get into that. This was targeted, purposeful, just disgusting.
It is fucked up.
At only 26 years old, she worked double shifts, had a great work-life balance, was in love, and was planning on starting a family and going back to school, despite her fear of getting into debt. Like, she had just really raised her credit score. She knew nursing school was going to put her in debt, but her family encouraged her to go on and get her nursing degree because the benefit would far outweigh the debt. And so she agreed.
We advise our kids the same. Like, don't take out student loans or anything like that.
If you can help it.
Yeah.
She just wanted to be a nurse, and that had been her lifelong dream. She'd been working even harder during the early stages of the coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah,
And so we called these people heroes. Let's point that out. That the nurses, emergency room people, we called them heroes.
Right.
And this is how we treat our heroes.
For sure, yeah.
All of that was stolen from her on March 13th, 2020. It was just past midnight when Breonna and her boyfriend Kenneth were asleep in bed in their apartment. They were both startled awake by loud banging on the door. They had no way of knowing it was the police. The police, despite their assertion to the contrary, but they're big fucking liars, did not knock and did not announce themselves. So, let's take a pause, and I want us to put ourselves in that situation. We're husband and wife.
Yeah.
You're my spouse. What do you do if someone breaks down your door in the middle of the night and enters your home? We are told in this country that it is our constitutional right to bear arms. In fact, Kentucky is a stand your ground state. This means it is not against the law to shoot and kill someone who breaks into your home for your own protection. We're encouraged to keep guns for our own protection, aren't we?
The guns have more rights than people do, for sure.
So with this understanding, if you had a gun, Maris, in your bedside table,
I would go ham. There's no question.
and somebody broke into our house in the middle of the night, are you shooting?
Oh,
Or are you
yeah,
asking
yeah.
questions first?
We don't do guns in our house, but I do have a crowbar, which I think would be somehow more effective than a gun when it comes down to it.
Maybe. Not against a whole bunch of guns.
Well, I mean,
military-grade weapons.
She had like an army coming in.
Pretty much. I'm going to tell you what I would do. I would shoot the shit out of them. Without a thought.
Yeah.
And that's precisely what Kenneth Walker did.
Right.
Both Breonna and Kenneth were awakened by pounding on the door. So he stood in the hallway asking who was at the door, and he got no answer. Kenneth would later tell law enforcement that he was afraid it was Breonna's ex. He was scared for her and for himself, and scared for their safety. Kenneth had a gun legally. He owned a legal handgun, so when police broke the door off its hinges.
Oh my God.
He thought to fire a warning shot at what he believed were intruders. And frankly, in this case, they were fucking intruders.
Yeah.
They were home invaders, dangerous and armed. In plain clothes, they didn't even look like police officers.
I can't imagine.
Kenneth Walker fired one shot. That's it. He struck Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly in the thigh. Kenneth Walker displayed great restraint and cool-headedness during this encounter. He could have shot to kill multiple times, but he shot to warn. And I can't say the same for the cops in the fucking situation. What ensued next was pure chaos. Police immediately returned fire haphazardly. Over 20 rounds were fired into Breonna's apartment. She was struck 8 times. There were even stray bullets that went into neighboring apartments, showing a distinct lack of care for human life. One of those apartments had small children inside. Did the police give a fuck? No, they didn't. And when everything in the case finally came to light, it would be found that the warrant was obtained by purposeful false information.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. This part's really hard.
Yeah.
For over 20 minutes, Breonna lies on the ground, gasping for breath, slowly dying. Only when she was dead did the ambulance arrive, and it was Kenneth who called 911 to say that somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend. It is typical police procedure to have an ambulance on standby for these unconstitutional and disgusting no-knock raids. But this time, they sent the ambulance away.
What the fuck?
So if you don't think the goal was to kill somebody that night, then ask yourself why they sent the ambulance away. Mm-hmm.
Why even have it there then, you know?
It's just disgusting. So how did we get here? Why did the police do a no-knock raid on an innocent 26-year-old first responder's house? Mm-hmm. On March 12th, the day before, Jefferson County Circuit Judge Mary Shaw, just want to make sure we all know her name, approved 5 search warrants in connection with a case investigating a possible drug dealing ring. This dealer happened to be Breonna's ex-boyfriend. Now, a lot of dumb assholes want to conflate her association with this man to the reason she ended up dead, and we're going to say this. Fucking no. Stop. Victim blaming at its finest. I often talk about the myth of the perfect victim, as we were saying. And that doesn't exist. But she was a sweet, loving, and hardworking woman killed for precisely no other reason other than she was black.
It's not even like perfect victim. You have to be a perfect person to deserve not to die. Like, that's stupid.
I guarantee. Okay, so y'all go back in the history of every ex you've ever had.
Oh, right, they're an ex for a reason.
Y'all, I dated some real fucked up people.
Yeah.
Okay, that are in jail or went to jail. Mm-hmm. And do I deserve to have my home raided in the night because of past association? She had not spoken to this man in months. Mm-hmm. In months. So why are they at her house? Whew, just makes me so mad. The thing is there's no such thing as a perfect victim, and we need to start throwing that in the trash. Every human life deserves the dignity of the civil rights that we are guaranteed in the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And she didn't get those. She didn't get her due process. It was like police, judge, and jury all at once. An executioner. That's not how the system works.
Mm-hmm. And the police held accountable? Nope.
No, but we'll get to that. That fucking pisses me off. And let's play a game really quick. Okay, we're gonna play like.
Is this the kind where like the like in the horror movie? Let's play a game.
No, it's not like that. Oh. So what we're gonna let's just say, let's take me for example. When I was 19 years old, I dealt drugs. I sold acid, and sometimes I sold weed. I wasn't like a big dealer or anything, but I would go to the club. Kingpin. No, I would go to the club, and that's how I'd make my extra money, especially when I was in homeless situations. It was a good way to get some money really quick.
And you're a person who appears of Caucasian.
Yeah, I am an indigenous person, but I'm white passing. So did I deserve to be shot 8 times?
No.
For selling some weed?
No one would say that, yeah. Even like drug dealers, like that's not even like in the law. Like you don't get killed for dealing acid. Like that's
or any drugs. You face due process, and I think our system for incarcerating drug offenders is fucking gross and racist too. But here we are. But I want to point out that both Breonna and Kenneth had no criminal record ever. Mm-hmm. I have the bigger criminal record than her.
It has nothing to do with that. Like, you do that separately as a law thing.
I don't like that because, like, then we get into George Floyd and he had some run-ins with the law. He did not deserve to be smothered to death.
This really feels like Wild Wild West times,
It really does. It really does. Whew. Kenneth called Breonna's mom after calling 911. Tamika rushed to the apartments only to be told by police that Breonna had been taken to the hospital. So Tamika goes there, naturally terrified for her daughter. She waits for over 2 hours at the hospital only to be told her daughter isn't there. Tamika goes back to the apartment where she is told that her daughter is and has been laying dead inside the entire time.
Oh my God.
And I just can't even imagine the horror and the grief.
No.
Something like that would just kill me. I don't think I could go on. I'm just being honest. So it is a testament to Tamika's integrity and strength that she kept going to seek justice for Breonna, because without her and Breonna's family and community's efforts, we would not be talking about this right now, because boy, Louisville police sure tried to cover this up as hard and as fast as they could. Like if it weren't for her family and for the community, their efforts, these murdering bastards would have never even been held accountable socially.
Right.
Because the criminal system, they're going to get a slap on the wrist. Most. Tamika stated that when she returned, the police kept acting like someone else had shot her daughter, asking her questions like, did Breonna have any enemies?
Dude, like, what happened here? I didn't know. Like, what's going on?
What the fuck kind of question is that?
Right.
Yeah, she did. The cops, apparently. Already they were trying to change the narrative so they could get away with murder.
That's so fucked up on so many levels.
It gets worse, so you just better be
I'm
prepared.
not prepared.
Because of the ensuing stay-at-home orders, Breonna's family was rushed in making funeral arrangements. It was harder than it had to be because of the pandemic, and Breonna was one of the last in Louisville to be buried before the lockdown, which is just so sad.
Yeah, right.
Former Louisville Metro Police Detective Kelly Goodlett purposefully lied to the judge issuing the warrants. In order for the warrant to meet up with the criteria of probable cause, the leads have to be timely and accurate. Goodlett admitted that she helped lie to get the judge to issue the warrant and that her leads were stale. Some of the points in the warrant were just legitimately false and made up, and she had no probable cause to have a warrant for Breonna's home. Mm-hmm. This bitch and another detective got together and lied and made up a narrative about Breonna that wasn't true so that could raid her home based on a stupid hunch.
Just a feeling?
Well, she dated that guy once, right? So surely we'll find more drugs.
Right? Okay.
Right? Part of the falsified information was said to have come from the U.S. Postal Service that Breonna's residence was flagged as receiving suspicious packages. But this just was never true
Bitch,
at all.
it's Amazon.
No. In fact, in checking with the postal worker for Breonna's building, police were told that there were no flags and Breonna wasn't receiving any suspicious packages at all. They just lied. They just made it up.
Right.
Goodlett helped law enforcement obtain a no-knock warrant. This is because of a recent rash of drug dealers fleeing the scene, and gee, I fucking wonder why, and destroying evidence. But Goodlett admitted that there was no reason to issue this type of warrant for Breonna's home because she had no evidence that any drug dealers lived there. She just made that shit up to get that warrant no matter what.
What the hell? Like, what, you should get paid or something?
No, I mean, I guess they just wanted the clout of busting up some drug dealers.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Honestly, it just gets me hot. It just makes me mad.
Yeah.
Goodlett further admitted she knew that plainclothes officers with guns drawn doing a no-knock warrant would endanger the lives of Breonna and Kenneth.
Right.
If she knew that, then why go for that sort of warrant at all, especially when Breonna was classified as a low threat? Unless the whole point was just to kill her.
Yeah.
In addition, this piece of human garbage did this, which I've taken directly from the Justice Department's website. Mm-hmm. Second, Goodlett admitted that she and the other detective conspired to obstruct justice by providing false information to investigators after Taylor was shot and killed, specifically the plea agreement. Goodlett stated that she and the other detective provided a false investigative letter to criminal investigators, repeating the false and misleading claims from the warrant affidavit about JG receiving packages at Taylor's home and using Taylor's home as his residence. Goodlett admitted that she had hoped the false investigative letter would clear her and the other detective of suspicion of wrongdoing.
So are we going to charge her with obstruction? Or
we sure have.
Okay, great.
Federally. Because, Louisville won't do it.
Well,
they were all acquitted.
The feds are bigger boys too, right?
None of these carry very lengthy prison sentences, but we'll get to that. This woman is directly responsible for Breonna's death, and I don't care if she didn't fire one single fucking bullet. Her lies and obstruction of justice are absolutely vile and disgusting. The police are a violent, racist gang of thugs holding up that thin blue line, which isn't thin or blue. It's thick and red with the blood of all the innocent people they straight up murder.
Amen.
No, she scrambled to cover her ass and the asses of her officers because she knew what they had done was wrong. They don't even have the decency of facing the music for what they did.
Can we, like, if it's Wild Wild West times, can we, like, put them in a stockades and throw crap at them, or?
I'd love to, but
Right.
they've got military-grade weapons, and we don't.
Oh, this is dumb Wild West times.
I'm not a fan. In addition to all of that, the incident report that the officers turned in didn't even mention that Breonna was injured.
Oh, my God.
It barely had any writing on it at all. Cool. So, like, if we don't write it down, it didn't happen.
Right.
I'm going to have copies of this shit turd warrant on Patreon.
Okay.
Now, y'all, when I say on Patreon, it's not behind a paywall. I don't own these images. I just collect
It's
them.
just the place where we can post them.
I can't place a lot of this stuff on social media because Facebook and Instagram are racist as shit.
You can't say the word pee-pee.
You can't say the word P. No.
We got flagged for it or something.
We did, just like ridiculous stuff like that. But I've shared like Black Lives Matter stuff on the Cruelty Facebook, and I have account shutdown warnings. So if you want to find case photos, please head over to our Patreon. They are free to the public, and there you can see if I can find autopsy reports, warrants, things like that. I keep all that documentation
research and
there,
stuff.
and I'll have those there as well. So just to let you guys know. Federal charges have been filed against 4 of the officers, Joshua Janes, Brett Hankinson, Kelly Goodlett, and Kyle Meany. None of those charges are murder charges. Which is cool.
Okay.
It wasn't until May of 2020 that Breonna's case got national attention. This was during the George Floyd protests, and thanks to her family always asking for justice, pretty much. People will try and piss and moan that it was the pandemic that was to blame for the anemic response to Breonna's murder. But no, it was politicians trying to whitewash and hide it, Louisville PD covering up their ass. And while some called for an investigation, there was basically silence for 2 months after her death. Mm-hmm. In August of 2022, the 4 officers involved, that's when they got their charges. It was like the shooting was ruled self-defense, so there's no murder charges. And I think it's a disgusting miscarriage of justice. The charges brought on the officers were obstruction, excessive force, and civil rights violations. And none of those, unfortunately, carry what I would consider a lengthy prison sentence for taking someone's life.
And you think it's because the boyfriend was trying to defend himself that they don't get to basically have justice?
For me, they're saying it was self-defense because he shot at them.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But they misrepresented themselves and lied to get that warrant. So I think it kind of negates any defense they could have on their part. No, I agree with
you. But it's like you said, we are encouraged to, like, he was using the gun the way you're supposed to.
Oh, don't worry. They arrested him for attempted murder of a police officer.
Oh, my Jesus Christ.
Those charges were dropped thanks to protests, by the way.
Because, like, you're damned if you do, and you can have all these guns,
well,
but you
just
can't
lay
use
here
them.
and take it and let them shoot you, I guess, and plant evidence. And, because it's not out of the realm of possibility. If they're willing to lie to get this warrant, they're willing to plant evidence to send these innocent people to jail for however long.
Right.
On stuff they didn't even do. There's no reason we should be busting down people's doors for drugs. I don't care if it's Tony goddamn Montana in there in a pile of cocaine.
But if like a bunch of people are like unannounced burst into your house,
you're not allowed to shoot them, even though according to Kentucky law you are.
Right. That's what I'm putting it together in my head. It's like you're supposed to buy all these guns. You're supposed to have all these guns. But if someone breaks into your house, you can't use your guns.
No.
Like, it's like, okay.
So I always thought the right to bear arms, our Second Amendment, is to protect us for a government that's out of control.
It shouldn't be like that. Like, that's a weird way to have a country.
I mean, I get why it was put there, but nobody's carrying around like muskets. The police have riot gear and paramilitary equipment.
Right.
There's no way that my stupid little pistol or rifle or even an AK is going to stand up to how many of them coming at me in a tank?
Yeah. Yep. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's just
no, that's fine.
The situation is just like if someone bursts into your house, you can't do anything about it.
No. Especially not if you're black. Mm-hmm. We could probably get away with it, but they couldn't.
Yeah, because if police burst into a house right now unannounced and they don't have their police uniforms on or nothing, like,
it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then And it was dark. So even if they'd had uniforms on, you couldn't fucking see.
Right.
And, it reminds me of the guy who did the mass shooting at the black churches. Mm-hmm. And they went and got him some Burger King afterwards.
Okay.
I just want to show the difference of how we treat people.
Yeah.
So these trials for these charges haven't even fucking happened yet. A trial from one of the officers got pushed back until October 30th of this fucking year. Hankinson is the officer in that case. He's up for firing into Breonna Taylor's window, which was covered in blinds and a blackout curtain. Real brave of him, by the way. Mm-hmm. He was already acquitted in the wanton endangerment charge, so I doubt he'll see any prison time. To me, this stinks of the LA uprising all over again with those officers who got away with nearly beating Rodney King to death. Mm-hmm. Ooh, it makes me so angry, guys. In June of 2020, Breonna's law was signed in Louisville, and what this does is it bans the no-knock raids. And her mother said all Breonna wanted to do was save lives. Mm-hmm. And this was maybe a way that she could. But leave it to me to not trust the government or the police, because you might think, well, then the no-knock raid stopped, right?
No,
they didn't.
Yeah.
3 weeks later, in an apartment complex, police gathered for a no-warrant raid because there had been a stabbing, and witnesses said the black woman that lived in the apartment they were about to raid fit a loose description of the suspect. They broke into another innocent black woman's home, handcuffed her, and set her outside for over 2 hours, detaining her, which is illegal if you don't charge someone. They ended up never charging her. She had nothing to do with the stabbing.
Right.
She was just black. And that's all they needed to violate the sanctity of her home and her civil rights. Mm-hmm. Marches, protests, slogans, memes, hashtags, they are important. We have to do more, though. It can't stop until justice is done. Protests and marches saw that we all knew who Breonna was. Now we all know her name and we know her face. But those cops aren't going to face life sentences as they should. And yes, Breonna's family won a lawsuit, but what money can replace your child?
Yeah.
No amount of money. Mm-mm. None. I keep asking, how much are we supposed to take and how much can we stomach? When is enough enough? And why wasn't it enough the first time it happened? Black people do not want white people guilt. I will say this every episode, because guilt is pointless and useless. And it, again, puts the emotional labor on black people. Mm-hmm. Because you're saying, I feel bad. Make me feel better. Yeah. They don't want that.
No, change the fucking laws or the way that they're enforced.
So what do we do then if we're tired of seeing this happen to black people? Mm-hmm. Well, we fight.
Yeah.
We fight just as hard as they fight, because we can't have like rights for some and not for others.
Right. Yeah.
That's not how this is going to be. Mm-mm. It's all or none.
Yeah.
And there can't be justice or peace. And I mean, there can't be peace until there's justice. Yeah. And there isn't any, not in her case. There's just not.
Nope.
And I will be surprised if any of them serve anything longer than 5 years. Mm-hmm. I will be surprised.
Right. And
I think that is gross.
Mm-hmm. Fucked up.
It's very fucked up. I don't know. If someone could come in the dead of night and shoot your child to death for no reason, and then you later found out they lied and schemed so they could break into her home and take her life from her for no good reason, which they admitted under oath. Mm-hmm. They had no probable cause.
They should be in life or prison.
They lied and they lied and they killed her.
Yes.
And I don't know about y'all, but I wouldn't be here because I had to kill.
True crime counts if like a cop did it. That's still true crime.
Yes, it is.
It is true and a crime.
Yes, and I don't know if I did that. Let's say there's this guy down the street. He's a little bit shady, and he is.
Hi, guy down the street. Please don't be listening.
What, the crazy white guy?
Yes.
Yeah, he spray painted his car like Trump 2020 and like 2021. So we know how well he's holding up.
Yeah.
And he's got guns and there's a lot of people coming and going at all hours. I guess I can just bust into his house in the middle of the night to check and see if he has drugs.
You don't even have to be dressed as a cop or nothing, or
no, and not even have a warrant, really.
No,
so
just
fine.
Go in there.
Citizen's arrest, bitch.
You're like, I know that your ex dealt crime, like did some crimes a few years ago.
So I'm gonna get you, and if I shoot that man, I'm gonna get the death penalty.
Yep.
Pretty much, regardless of what he did with his time.
So you're telling me you can't just burst into someone's house, shoot him, and be like, oh, but your ex a couple years ago did something wrong?
No.
Oh. I thought this was America.
Unfortunately, it is. Here's where we're at. So, when we get to the end of these episodes, we're always really angry and we're always really sad. Mm-hmm. And I'm both things.
Yeah.
So we have to ask ourselves, well, what the shit can I do? Because I'm just a poor nobody in Arkansas. Mm-hmm. But what we can do, y'all, is vote.
Me and you voted. We put our voting where our mouth is.
We did put our voting where our mouth is. We have got to stop caring whether they got an R or a D by their name. And we have to start paying attention to what is their voting record. What do they stand for?
Are they nuts?
Are they nuts? Are they racist pieces of shit? Do they really give a fuck about me and my family? Because let's point something out here right now and let's get this all real crystal clear. They are our employees.
Mm-hmm. I'd fire them for sure.
They all need to be fired. The country doesn't need to go on. It grinds to a halt until we fix this. We can't keep shooting innocent black people.
No, it's fucked up.
We can't do it. Mm-mm. It's wrong. It's disgusting. But that's just what we're going to do. This can't happen anymore. Mm-hmm. There shouldn't be any gerrymandering or Jim Crow laws. There should not be one sundown town in this country, and I live next to several.
I'm looking at you, Harrison.
I'm not looking at it. It might
don't look at me back, though.
If you have $1 to spare, donate it to places that make sure we don't forget Rodney King, George Floyd, Tyree Johnson, Breonna Taylor, Tamir Rice, Andre Hill, Dewante Rice, Manuel Ellis, Sandra Bland. The list is really, really, really long.
Yeah.
And I will include it. I do not have, it would take me 2 hours.
Right.
And this is just black people killed by the police in like the last decade. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put that list up and you guys read it and look at their pictures.
Yeah.
This was somebody's kid. And this was somebody's father. And we're just letting this happen. We're just like, oh, well, not me, so it's fine.
Yep.
It won't be fine, and someday it'll be you.
It will be you someday.
Because let me tell you something. They don't look too much favorably on poor white folks either. And that's what a lot of us are. Let's face it.
Yeah, well, all of us. We're all that.
Yeah. We can't let this happen anymore. Demand defunding and reform. Demand it. The government are our employees. We pay their inflated salaries with our tax dollars, our hard work, and our blood, sweat, and tears. And they callously destroy our planet, underpay our workers, let trains derail like fucking crazy, apparently, lie, cheat, steal, and do nothing when beautiful people like Breonna get murdered. They are smothering the light in this world. It's time for them to go. No taxation without representation. Because I'll tell you, do y'all feel represented by your government?
No,
because I sure fucking don't.
Not one trans dude.
I don't think I could sit down to dinner with any of these people and have anything resembling a normal fucking conversation.
And I don't think there should be. I think we should have traffic cops, and traffic cops don't have weapons of any kind.
Hey, the UK. Their cops don't have guns, and they're doing fine. We need to take the guns away from the fucking police.
I don't need to be shot for like doing a rolling stop on a stop sign. Like that's stupid.
And that has happened to black men.
Money.
That has happened to black men before.
Yeah, right. Fuck that.
These people are not public servants. They're vultures. So if any of y'all are sitting there and going, oh, Lillian, I'm very overwhelmed. I do not know what to do. I don't know how to get more involved in my community. Please reach out to me and I will help you. I will tell you how to register to vote. Mm-hmm. I will tell you where you can go for resources to educate yourself. I will help you out because I've helped myself. It's time to help other people. And another thing that we got to do, other than continuing to educate ourselves, vote, is that we can do the little good. Mm-hmm. The little good. That means start dismantling some of the prejudices you have. Because we've all grown up under systemic racism. No guilt. Don't feel bad about it. Just do better. Mm-hmm. So if a black man walks by your car and you're locking the door, cut that shit the fuck on out.
Right.
Don't do that. Don't. Don't think he doesn't notice. He notices.
Right.
And it's hurting you both.
Yep.
You're hurting yourself and you're hurting that man. So, yes. I will link to where you guys can donate in Breonna's honor. And please check out the Justice for Breonna page. There's lots of good information there and a petition. Sign it. Share it. Donate to Breonna's GoFundMe so her family can continue the fight for justice, and every dollar counts. I will have all of these linked in the description and labeled so you won't be confused. Donate to the fund that provides bail for protesters, because Louisville was quick to arrest and indict protesters.
No, good.
But not their crooked, murdering, lying cops.
Well,
just as they were quick to charge Kenneth with fucking attempted murder.
Occupy the police station or something.
But y'all, when you ask, like, what do protests actually do? There's an example. They dropped the charges against Kenneth. Mm-hmm. It caused press conferences, dialogue. People saw her face. People were horrified, as well they should be. Because I know you're going to, like, look on Facebook articles and stuff like that, and you'll see a lot of hateful comments. And it can make you, like, feel like giving up hope.
I always say, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what I tell myself. Those are bots.
A lot of them are bots.
They're fucking bots. Like, just forget it.
They're Russian trolls and shit to sow, like, unrest amongst people.
Just ignore
but I think that the majority of decent folks in this country view Breonna's murder as a horrible tragedy and a horror.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
For all of us.
Yeah.
For I don't care what color you are. This is a horror that this took place.
She was a paramedic person. Like, you just murdered a fucking doctor. Like, why'd you?
Well, she wasn't a doctor. She was an emergency room technician. She saved lives. She was a hero.
She was a medical hero. Like if we fucking just murder them, like, what the hell?
Just because she was black, and just because of a former association, which I've never been murdered for.
As far as I know, I've not been murdered. Like, I made it through.
And so I'm just pretty overall disgusted. Breonna Taylor should not be dead. She should be finishing up nursing school, getting married, having babies, living her life, fulfilling her dreams. She should not have had that stolen from her. It's a horror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I will tell you this. They don't need to be as perfect and wonderful as Breonna was. George Floyd was an imperfect man, and he did not deserve what happened to him. Mm-mm. I want you to think of relatives you have that, the black sheep of the family, or the one with a drinking problem. Do you want that to be your relative who's already struggling for any reason? Everybody deserves due process and dignity.
Yeah.
And those were denied her, and it's not fair.
Yep.
And it makes me really sad, and I'm really angry for her family and for the state of the world, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah.
And, I think about this a lot because I have a son, my youngest, John, who I don't talk about very much because he would rather I not. Mm-hmm. But I never have to sit my very white child down and say, don't wear a hoodie with the hood up. Always be really respectful and careful of police. Don't carry around toy guns. Don't even hold your finger like a gun.
Nope. Yeah.
I don't ever have to worry if he wanted to walk up and get himself an ice cream.
Right.
And then just think about black mothers who have to do that and they have to worry. That shouldn't be a thing.
Yep.
That shouldn't be a thing, and I'm pretty disgusted.
Yeah.
So let's do better. Mm-hmm. And one way to start is all the ways I outlined earlier. You need to vote, sign some petitions, get involved, not just on a federal level too, guys, like on city.
Your local.
And state. Local. Get local with it. Because when I say it's the little good, it does start small. Mm-hmm. And just never let single one of them gerrymandering Jim Crow motherfuckers back into office ever again. Mm-mm. Ever. Mm-mm. Vote for your police chiefs.
What if they're all bad?
They are all bad. Let's be clear. Because my whole thing is this. If the foundation is rotten and crumbling, you can't build a good house on top of it.
Right.
And if the entire institution was founded on chasing down runaway slaves and bringing them back into bondage, then the foundation's racist and bad.
Yeah.
And don't tell me, don't say, but black cops, they're a part of the system too.
We need straight up police reform.
We need defunding and reform. Mm-hmm. I could go more radical and say I don't want them at all, but I know nobody's going to go for that. So at least, and when I say defund, y'all, what I mean is, does the military need, not the military, to me they're the same thing. Does the police need a tank?
Nope.
No, the police does not need a tank.
Not every cop needs a gun every time you get pulled over. That's just stupid, and it's a waste of money, frankly.
And I mean, I came from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the riot police in Tulsa, y'all, that was some scary shit seeing that stuff go down the road.
And there's not any de-escalation training. Like, that needs to be huge. Especially if we got no mental health, then you absolutely need de-escalation training.
Let me ask you this, like, what training did they have when they get fired at once, so that's just a hail of bullets that could have killed their own dudes?
They're just firing all crazy.
The one dude runs outside and shoots into a window. There could have been children in there.
Right? What are you even shooting at?
He didn't know because it was a blackout curtain and some blinds.
Like, that's what I'm saying. You're just shooting
fucking
all wildly.
Idiot. It's because they're not trained. Y'all, it should take a 4-year degree to become a police officer, and a lot of that should be focused on addiction and mental health and fucking empathy, of which they just seem to have fucking zero.
If we're not going to have any mental health hospitals, then yes.
Then that's what we need to do.
We do have too much expectation on the police. They have far too much responsibility.
That is true, and they are not trained or equipped to deal with it. There are no resources. Oh, God.
Oh, we could go on.
I could go on for hours, but I'm not going to. On an episode like today, I feel it's pretty disrespectful to do business time. Mm-hmm. But I would like to point out, if you want to join our Discord, that's not business, not behind paywall. I don't make any money. But if you want to talk about especially like community outreach, how to get involved in your community, or you just want to show me pictures of your dogs and you need something like some uplifting chatter to wash the sad of this away for a minute.
Show me pictures of your kitty cats.
Please, and what you made for dinner. That's the kind of content I'm here for. Come join our Discord. The link is in our link tree. Don't be scared, just where we keep our links. And again, all the pictures for this case, pictures of Breonna, of Kenneth, of the crime scene, stuff like that. I'm not going to be showing grisly pictures in this. I don't want to. I am going to be showing the warrant and the incident report that was full of crap, because I want you to see how full of crap these things are. Mm-hmm. They need to be held accountable. I mean, if they're not going to be held accountable by the justice system, which is clearly fucked, then they need to at least to be held socially accountable. They shouldn't be able to move anywhere in this country without getting shit thrown at them. Mm-hmm. Literal shit.
Yeah.
Because I've had enough. Anyway, go check all that out. And if all you can do to support this podcast is listen, well, you're doing it. And I love you for it. And thank you for being here. And thank you for listening to a difficult case. And let's all go be mad and make things different.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love you guys.
Thank you.
Find us on your social media platform of choice. Linktree/cruelty has all of the links. Check out our Patreon for exclusive episodes, merch, ad-free episodes, live ghost hunts, and much more. Please be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded weekly. Thank you so much. See you next time. Music and production by Willie B.